Welcome back to Hannity. So Democrats, members of the Detroit media, will not stop pushing this phony Russia-Trump collusion narrative despite no evidence. As a matter of fact, evidence now to the contrary. And just yesterday, the House Intelligence Committee ranking Democrat, liberal Congressman Adam Schiff, he said this. Pay attention.
The allegation, of course, is that the Russians in the hacking and dumping of documents in the election had essentially relationships with Trump campaign people and coordinated those efforts. Now, the FBI opened an investigation into that issue in July, well before Congress did. But I'm not prepared to say that there's proof you could take to a jury. But I can say that there is enough that we ought to be investigating. Indeed, it would be negligent for us not to investigate.
Here now with reaction, President Trump's attorney. Also, he is the chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow. Jay, I want to specifically get into this because this has now become like Russia-Trump conspiracy, right, birther conspiracies, you know, sort of truthers. And it's gotten so bad, every intelligence agent, every head intelligence official, every Democratic congressman, nobody has any evidence of collusion. 11 months of a media lies. Why now are they moving on to what? Obstruction? And if that doesn't work, now we'll move on to financial issues. At what point does this investigative creep end? Why is it important?
Well, look, first of all, this is, and the president said this, he's absolutely correct. This is a witch hunt. It's as if you have a false narrative being compounded by another false narrative, except you've got a committee of the House, a committee of the Senate, a special counsel, and everybody's looking at this. So here's what you just heard from Adam Schiff. Do we have evidence that can go to a jury? No. Well, last week it was, do we have the smoking gun from Senator Warner? And then the other senator saying we've not seen evidence of collusion. Then all the intelligence officials saying no evidence of collusion, no evidence of Russian collusion. So what is this at the end of the day? And what's really at stake here? And the Constitution's what's at stake. Because what you have right now is these multiple-pronged investigations that have been going on. You know, people think that the special counsel was appointed in middle of May, and it's only been, a couple of weeks now. This has been going on for almost a year, 10 months. And what is the evidence that even the members of the Democratic Party have acknowledged? Nothing. We have seen no evidence. So at this point, when you look at it,
then.
Yeah.
I want to stay focused on these constitutional issues here because remember Richard Armitage, Patrick Fitzgerald knew early on that Richard Armitage was the leaker, but then he stays on this for literally 3 years, and all he comes up with is a perjury trap for Scooter Libby at the end of the day. So now if we're going to start at Russia-Trump collusion, that has been debunked. Why is the special counsel still here? How do we move to obstruction? How do we then move to finances? To me, it seems like a constitutional crisis now created. Thoughts?
Well, it's a fake constitutional crisis, because if you look at the Constitution, of course, the president could not have obstructed justice in the termination of James Comey. And this goes to the point of what we've been saying. The whole basis upon which this is, by the way, all we know are leaks coming out of supposed agencies going to the Washington Post. We don't have evidence of anything, a leak or a series of leaks, and they don't even identify the agency. But what is the purported violation here? And this is where the constitutional issue arises. Here's what's really happened. So the president takes an evaluation of the conduct and activities of James Comey as the director of the FBI, comes to a conclusion based on consultation with people that he trusts in his administration, including the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General, who recommend removal. He was already thinking about that before. They make a big deal about that. Of course, presidents think about that. Look what James Comey did in the middle of the last election. So then he takes action. What's the action based on? He takes the recommendation that now the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General have made, and he took action and removed James Comey as the FBI director. So now he's being supposedly, and again, there's no evidence of this, supposedly, if it was true what they're leaking, supposedly being investigated by the agency who told him to take the action that he ended up taking. And now they do that through the Office of the Special Counsel, who reports to the Deputy Attorney General. So this is the problem with the constitutional problem, is that they are creating something that is contrary to the way the Constitution is structured and the powers of the presidency.
So I got to run here. And then the really important thing is now the president doesn't deal with Russia threatening to shoot down our planes, or the insanity of North Korea that we have to deal with,
Right.
or ISIS that is a big problem, or getting people out of poverty, off of food stamps, and into the labor force and buying homes. Now this is 80% of the president's time, which in part is part of the agenda, which I'm going to get to next. Jay, thank you.
But I call that, it's a media filibuster, but the president's doing his work. I don't, this is not taking up 80% of his time. He's doing his job, but this is an unnecessary distraction. Yes, absolutely.
And now it has taken on an entire. We're going to talk about the investigative creep next. Jay Sekulow, thank you. When we come back, what is this mission creep, investigation creep? If they don't have Russia-Trump collusion, why are they still there? Anyway, should Robert Mueller, Rod Rosenstein resign? I say yes. We'll check in with Sarah Carter, Greg Jarrett, and later, my take on Megyn Kelly's interview with Alex Jones, a commentary you don't want to miss.